Shannon Reber, and this is the Lit Chick Podcast, and here we are. So, hello.
Hello. What a wonderful day, huh?
A little windblown, yeah.
Yes,
Just a little bit.
Windy.
Well, that's okay. We get the wild woman look.
Yes,
when
yes,
we walk over.
indeed.
Yeah.
and the bunny ears. I mean, they almost flew away.
Well, we want to say, because you'll be watching this, hopefully, and Easter's on its way, so we want to wish you a very happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yeah.
I have to confess, I intended to look up why we do Easter bunny things in America, and it turns out that I forgot. So I looked it up last night, and it had something to do with a German tradition, and I can't remember what it was, so this is totally useless information.
That's
A
okay.
lot of our things come from German traditions,
I
don't
know,
they? Like
it
the
is.
Christmas tree. And
That's true, yeah. Interesting.
Well, the bunny rabbit's coming on Sunday, and we're all going
Yes,
to be
yeah.
eating our ham and pineapple or whatever we have for traditional.
I
Easter
don't like
dinner.
ham and pineapple. I only like ham. I don't like the pineapple on it. I'm weird like that, I know.
Okay.
But there was one that I heard. I believe it was on TikTok. It was a Facebook reel. It was a comedian talking about why Americans do the hiding the Easter eggs, and I believe he was Irish, and he's like, we just don't do things like that in Ireland. I was trying to figure this out, and what the disciples must have done was once Jesus died, they hid all the eggs, and then he came back to life, and he went, oh, come on, lads, where are all the eggs? Let's go look for the eggs. And it was really quite adorable, and it was better with his accent, so.
it sounds like one of those things that's better.
Better in person. Sorry, whoops.
That's okay. So on a topic of writing, which is kind of
which is kind of what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, well, no, that's okay. I'm enjoying our Easter egg discussion.
Yeah.
And of course, it brings in the children, which is really, I think, the whole purpose of the eggs. And the bunny rabbit, and,
Fingers crossed.
I
That's
think
what it's
Easter
supposed to be
baskets
about.
filled with
Yeah,
candy.
yeah, maybe. It kind of mixed a whole bunch of different traditions together with the Christian tradition, so more people were included. I think that was I want to think that was kind of the purpose for all the
Hopefully.
stuff that got mixed in with that. But anyway, happy Easter to everyone. And I hope you've enjoyed writing. How about you? Have you been doing some writing?
Some, yes. I'm mostly formatting,
Yeah,
and it's so
yeah.
fun.
I will mention that we're at the Lakeshore Center for the Arts, and we're doing our first annual competition. If you go to the website, you can enter the contest, and we're going to announce winners later in the fall, and the winners and the runners-up will be published in an anthology. So we want to welcome anybody who's interested in trying out. We're excited about it. It's our first one.
I'm going to try out.
Good.
Yay,
I encourage that.
congratulations.
I might have more than one.
Well, that's fine.
Yay.
That's fine. More the better.
But any writers out there,
Yes.
you're all invited.
Yes.
Anyone can join our.
We want to hear what you're writing. We tell you what we're writing, but we want to hear what you're writing as well.
Of course, yes.
And speaking of which,
Speaking of which,
I did bring a book because I've been thinking a lot about the power of words.
yes.
And I'm a journaler, so for decades I've been keeping a journal. And it's really interesting because you can go back and you can sort of glimpse your life from years ago. And it's sometimes surprising how much we actually have done or changed. Or, I can give you a quick example of 20 years or so before I retired, I wrote in my journal, what would be my ideal job? And I was very specific. I'd like to work 3 days a week. I'd like to make enough money to support myself. I'd like to do. And I have this long list, and then I forgot about it.
Okay.
And 15 years later, 20 years later, when I'm getting ready to retire, I happened to review that journal. And I was amazed that I had that job.
Hey, congratulations.
And I had totally forgotten that I wrote that exact
You spoke
description.
it into being.
Yes.
Hey.
So the power of words is what inspired me to write this series called the Palimpsest Journal. And the word palimpsest I like words. Words make me think. And this is a word that it's about ancient writing materials. So papyrus or whatever was very valuable. So what they did back in the ancient days is they would either scrape it down or they would write over somehow. They would reuse and recycle paper. So this journal in my fictional world is a magical journal from eons ago. People have written in this journal thousands of times, but you don't see that. When you get the journal, it looks pristine and new. And the words you write change your life. So there's a series of 3 stories in each volume. So I have volume 1 and volume 2 is almost ready to come out. And each of the characters finds this journal, comes into to possess it in some way, and you don't know as the reader if it's a positive or a negative, because good and bad will happen depending on what you write. Okay.
That is so cool.
And so it forces you as the protagonist, and you as the reader to kind of assimilates that role when you're reading, right? You
Okay.
become that person. You have to think about, what would I do?
Right,
And,
right,
and what if
exactly.
I had a magic book that would make things come true? And
Ooh, what would I want?
yeah. Well, yeah. And so in all of
Does write give me coffee? Do you think that will be as
that would work, yes. And you would be surprised where coffee can come from.
Oh, I don't think I want to know now.
So,
Where did this idea actually come from?
well, I think it came from my experience in journaling.
Oh,
That
okay,
I
okay.
have, for years and years, have used writing as a tool
Right.
to help me envision my life and re-envision my life.
That's amazing.
And we go through transitions. We're young. We get married. We have children. We pursue careers. We pursue our education, and we might change. We might say, well, I
Right.
want to be a teacher, and then we might say, well, that isn't what I really want. I want to be a business person. And so we reinvent ourselves all
Right.
the time.
Yeah, very
all
true.
the time.
And it's a good thing.
It
Yeah,
is a good
it
thing.
is,
It
yeah.
is a good thing because we have, if we're fortunate, I like to think we have 70 years. We're given 70 years. Hopefully, that's a good goal.
Okay.
But anything beyond 70, I feel like that's a bonus. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm in bonus years right now, and I
I
want to
like
make
it.
the most of these bonus years. And so I'm thinking now, as I write in my journal, okay,
Mhm.
what do I really want? It's very hard to decide when you're in your 70s because you're thinking shorter term. But I want to think about what I want
Okay.
and what makes that real for me.
Okay.
And so, this is just who I am.
Cool.
I
Yes,
use
you're a
words to
planner.
reinvent
You are a
and
serious
create
planner.
myself and
Yes.
my life and the life I want. And so I wrote this book because it really touched something that is important to me.
That's amazing.
But these are all, I would put this almost in I don't know if paranormal is the right word, but
Yeah,
Close.
kind of, yeah. Yeah.
mystical.
Yeah,
Kind
exactly.
of.
Exactly.
It's not, in fact, I even published
I've
this one.
read
under-
one already, one of the stories.
Okay.
That's as far as I've gotten.
Yeah. And it's also an exercise in writing because every story is 10 chapters and every story is 25,000 words.
Oh, really?
So it's like 3 novellas in the book. And,
That's very cool.
and I decided to experiment further
Okay.
because there's 10 chapters, but I start with chapter 10
Mhm.
and I reverse it it comes to chapter 1, which is the conclusion of the book.
Okay.
And that's also a mental, emotional trick
Okay.
because you're thinking when you're reading this almost in reverse. So you could actually
Okay.
go from the ending to the beginning and see how the person came to this ending.
Interesting.
So
Oh.
I found when I
Huh.
first started writing many years ago when my kids went off to college and I had this empty nest syndrome. I did a lot of crazy things.
Okay.
You know.
At least you don't have tattoos. You don't
No,
have
I don't.
tattoos.
I
it's all
don't. I
good.
thought about it, but then I heard it was called a tramp stamp, and I said,
Oh no!
"No, I don't want a tramp stamp."
It's only in the small of your back when it's a tramp
Yeah,
stamp.
yeah. Well, I decided that wasn't for me. I could do without that.
I would find it very amusing if you had a tramp stamp. Though.
Yeah, me
I mean,
too.
I would really enjoy hearing stories.
It would have to be blue. Maybe a blue heart or something would
I
work.
thought
Yes.
about that because so many people have them. It's
Oh,
like,
right.
but what do I really want that I won't want to take off later?
I actually am getting another one. I have one on my side that I got when I was 19, and I decided that I wanted to get one in honor of my mom. So I'm getting a claddagh, which is an Irish symbol of love and friendship,
Wow.
and so it's a heart basically being held up by 2 hands.
Oh my.
And there's
That
a crown
sounds
on
nice.
top. Yeah.
Yeah.
so
It's
I,
well thought out.
yeah, yeah.
Not done on a
absolutely-
whim.
Right, exactly.
And done
And
by a professional, so
Done by a professional, yes.
hopefully it looks
Yeah.
like what you want.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying.
Oh
but-
no.
but that's okay. And I also wrote this series under a pseudonym.
Can you show
Oh,
us?
yeah.
Can you show them?
So this
book?
is the book, the first volume, and I do want to, if we have time, I'd just like to read the first paragraph.
Now hold on, you got to tell us the pseudonym.
Oh, the pseudonym.
Yeah.
Beryl Wendover. So this is my name that I use when I write books that are different from most of the books I write. And so this is kind of on the paranormal sort of.
Yes, paranormal.
And
definitely.
Beryl is a word for blue, which you kind of figure out. I like blue.
Shocking. Yes.
And Wendover is where my ancestors came from in England.
Interesting.
So
I like
I,
that.
I kind of connect with it. So a palimpsest is a very old text or document in which the writing has been removed, covered, or replaced by new writing. Ancient civilizations reused writing surfaces like papyrus because paper was so valuable. They erased old writing to add new text, often leaving a residual of the previous work underneath. So I thought that was
Interesting.
very, very
Yeah,
mysterious.
It really is.
So my very first story, gotta wrap it up, okay. So, I don't think I have time for this, but you can read it. It's my favorite opening. All right, I'm done.
Well,
Okay.
you did very well, and
Thank
I
you.
actually I keep intending to pick it up, and then I go to read it, and it's not on Kindle Unlimited, so then I can't really do that.
That's okay. I
I'm
will- I
looking
will get-
forward to reading more of those.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've gotten through one,
Yes.
and I just haven't had time lately.
I know, I've been the same way.
But
Oh, we need the word of the day though.
the word of the day. Yes, we have a word of the day. It is raisinure. Raisinure is a person in a play or a book embodying the author's viewpoint.
Okay.
So,
Raisinure.
raisinure.
I'm thinking of certain authors, especially older ones, and I think that a playwright who used this was an older, back in the Shakespearean days, who used this technique, where the character speaks the narrative almost of the author. And there's older authors like Dickens. Dickens does this a number of times in his books, and I've always been truly amazed that I'm reading the story and then he pauses, literally says, "Pause, dear reader, and consider,"
Oh
and
yes,
speaks
yes,
to
yes.
you
Okay.
as the author of the narrator
Right.
of the book, and and you get some insights into why he's writing what he's writing.
Okay.
And the one that comes to my
So
mind,
that's the Raisinets then.
Yeah.
The Raisinets are
and that's us, right?
the Raisinets are the places where
As
he's
long
stopping
as
to
I
speak to
don't
the author.
have to stand up and jump and do those
Okay.
things that the raisinets.
Yeah. I don't remember those commercials, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
I think they're called the Rockettes, but
Oh, Rockets. Okay.
Raisinets, what's the difference?
What's the difference? I don't think there's a difference.
Okay.
well,
it was lovely to see you guys, and so keep reading all that jazz.
as always, we have fun. We
Yes.
hope you have fun.
Reading and writing.
Reading, writing,
and creating.
Yes, exactly.
Write what's in your heart in your journal.
Exactly. In your journal. Bye.
Bye.